And now to get you more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh. Good afternoon, Shubhendu. Now, considering Trump's stand on this war and European Union's intention, how do you assess Putin's reaction to this developing situation, Shubhendu?
Deepika, good afternoon. Well, we're looking at Russian President Vladimir Putin reiterating, in fact, the red lines, the actions that he considers as red lines from the West, particularly the access first and then the use of long-range missiles by Ukraine provided by the Western allies. And this is happening while the Western allies, Europe and the United States, appear divided in the manner in which they intend to support Ukraine in the conflict ahead. We saw that the Brussels conference was aimed at providing, ideally, the Russian frozen assets to Ukraine in the form of loan or in the form of liquidity. But either of the solutions could not work out. There are quite clear legal issues associated with it in the manner in which one can handle frozen assets of another country. As a result, what we saw was a certain blanket statement of support saying that European Union is going to be taking care of what it says, financial needs of Ukraine for the next couple of years. And this comes just after a certain disappointment for Ukrainian President Zelensky in Washington, D.C. We had gone hoping to receive Tomahawk missiles to be able to have that sort of strategic advantage against the adversary in the battlefield. But President Trump turned that down. What he did was apply his first against Russian oil companies, sanctions that he applied against the major Russian oil companies. So we see certain actions being taken by the West to put Russia under pressure. But there are clear divisions in the manner in which what Ukraine wants and what the West is delivering. All eyes now on what happens in London, where we see once again, we've seen the rhetoric of what Prime Minister Starmer had said, greater support for Ukraine. But we'll have to wait and watch what happens there.
Also tell us, what are we expecting from Zelensky's London visit, which Putin would also be closely watching before going ahead for an expected meeting with Donald Trump?
Most certainly, Deepika. In fact, again, the issue in question is whether the West will make available advanced long-range missiles to Ukraine to be able to target deep inside of Russia and gain some sort of strategic advantage, or even put Russia under pressure, even while talks about a potential ceasefire are taking place. We don't know of any likely meeting between President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin. One that was expected earlier in Budapest was called off, and then Trump, in fact, reverted with sanctions against Russian oil companies. But the White House has given feelers that the potential meeting is not completely called off. It could happen at a later date at a suitable time. But for now, things appear in flux. All parties appear to be pushing for ceasefire, but then they not seem to be moving in the same direction. And all eyes on London, where the decision whether finally Ukraine will have access to some advanced long-range missiles or not. Russia is keeping a close eye. President Putin, Kremlin has made it very clear that any access to long-range missiles with which Ukraine could target deep inside of Russia could mean serious escalation.
All right. Thank you so much, Shubhendu, for joining us and giving us the latest on this.